Never seen a smile so big on my little old lady's face until I tell her I'm going fishing all weekend. Pack up all of my bacon, I make plans for 7:45, and I swing around, pick up my date for the weekend. Some reason she seems to please when I'm leaving. There's something I'm missing when I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing.
Terry Robertson, you are correct. It has been a while. How you doing? Nice to have you back, Terry. And that's the beautiful thing about CFN. We're always here when you need to be here. You can always count on Monday Live. Lori, Capel, Nancy. I'm not sure what that is, BJ, but thanks for tagging all those people. That's it. Thank you, Nance. Christina's in the house. How you doing? Lloyd's in the house. Tony Sizanowski. Listen, I hope all of you guys had a great weekend. That's all I could say. Right now, here in Ontario, it's a yucky day. It's a great day to be a fish, but it's not a great day to be an angler, unless you love fishing out in the rain. Scott Stewart, how you doing? You got quite the storm going on the BC coast as well. Trisha and Sarah, look at you. Bookends, first and second. Boom. As I said, hope everybody had a great weekend and is continuing to have a great week. I know it is a Monday, right? All we try to do here is brighten up your Mondays with CFN Live. We have a lot going on, a lot coming to an end, lots still to talk about, a lot to get excited about in CFN land. As you know, the fall brawl is over. Mike is going to be joining me tomorrow to give out the remainder of the prizes, so stay tuned for that tomorrow. Tuesday, on Tourney Tuesday. Also, we have a new contest going on. It's a contest from North Shore. I think this is what just showed up. Yeah, it is. This is the fall promotion. So let's have a look at this. This is from North Shore, but these are some of the things that we're going to be giving away. And, of course, the theme, is rainbow trout, steelhead season. For all you steelheaders, there's a lot of stuff in this prize pack. And it's real simple. All you got to do is show some swag, show a fish with some product in its mouth, maybe hold up the product and a fish, and tag North Shore Tackle Challenge. North Shore Tackle Challenge. Real simple. It's going on right now on my personal page as well as CFN. It's the pin post. But there's some incredible stuff. And as I said, if you are a steelheader, this is geared towards you. As you know, North Shore Tackle does some great stuff with their plastics. They have plastic eggs, two-tone plastic eggs. They got lots of eggs, lots of worm imitations that are blended colors. Some of your pinks, I mean, you can't beat that when you're, who goes to the river and doesn't have a pink worm, right? I think just about everyone. So there's lots of that in here, two-tone chartreuse, plus some scent. Good friends over at North Shore Tackle, some scent as well as a hat and a shirt. So this is quite a little prize pack. And as I said, it's real simple. All you got to do is take a pic wearing some North Shore Tackle swag, holding a fish with some North Shore Tackle in its mouth, in your hand, what have you, and just hashtag North Shore Tackle. It's real simple. Number of ballots doesn't matter. You can put in as many entries as you want. It's all going to take up space on a name wheel, which we are going to then. Oh, the room's falling apart. We're going to spin the wheel, find out who wins. So as I said, we'll be doing that. I believe it ends November 16th is what I have written down. But you got lots of time to enter, and I look forward to everyone to do so. The theme tonight is, of course, kids fishing, man. Take a kid fishing, kids events. AYA was a big one, still is in some areas in some provinces in Canada. All we want you to do is just tag names, tag the event, tag people that you'd like to bring attention to the fact that some of these youth angling events, hopefully, fingers crossed, are going to be taken off in 2022. And as we're going to talk about, licenses basically went through the roof. And a lot of it, as Lawrence will talk about, is attributed to young anglers. So these young anglers are going to be looking for events like the CFN Fish Off to partake in, the Winter Fish Fest, this, that, and everything else. So tag your event, tag one that you've been to, tag one that your kids helped out with or you helped out with, or one that you plan on going to in 2022, because I'm hoping they're all up and running next year, because I'll tell you, it's been an off year. But as I said, that is all I've got for announcements. Let me go through some of the comments. Oh, members, thanks, BJ. We are all numbers, either women anglers. BJ, thanks so much. I appreciate. This is exactly why we did this, because we wanted to bring light to all of the stuff. Great things, great things that some of our groups in social media are doing to get young people fishing. Because I don't know. I know I speak for myself, but I'm sure I speak for a lot of you. I really enjoyed fishing for the sake of catching fish, but I don't know about you. The joy of watching somebody else catch fish, especially a really nice fish, one that is their personal best and maybe their first of, I don't think it gets any better than that. I might be wrong. What's up, Ed? Ed McKenzie's in the house. How you doing? Tracy Dupuy. Yeah, baby. Rocky Ellison. Nice to see you. Dwayne Bennett. We do on Dynamite Plastics. You certainly sponsor a lot of events. Dynamite does some great things. Same here, North Shore Swagless. Well, what you might want to do is go to their website, www.northshoretackle.com, and hook yourself up with some. It's not much for a hat. It's not much for something like this. Very cheap, very affordable. As I said, our good friends over there do. Oh, sorry, it's www.northshoretackle.ca, not com. But head over to northshoretackle.ca, and check out some swag, check out some product. I mean, you can't go wrong with plastics, right? Everybody's using plastic. So whether you're drop shotting or jigging or swimming something, everybody likes a paddle tail. I mean, those who went to the CFN retreat and used this North Shore Tackle product understand just how good it is. For all those who did attend and sent me a thank you video to North Shore Tackle, you have already qualified for one ballot on the wheel. So I'm looking forward to seeing as many entries as possible. So there's no limit. You can put in 100 entries or you can put in one. It's totally up to you. But anyway, it's a great little contest. Halloween's coming up this weekend too. I know our legacy members and editing team have some pretty cool things ready for Halloween. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of your ghosts and goblin, impressions, whether you're holding fish, out fishing. I know Mark Beeler does a great thing with Mike Myers, the mask. And it looks very lifelike. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of Mark's stuff. Can't wait for Halloween. A lot of people, Terry, we were talking about it today. It is more of an adult thing, I think, now than it is a kid's thing. I mean, it's still a kid's thing, but I think there's more adult Halloween parties than anything else. It is becoming a very, very popular holiday. It's not really a holiday, but time of year, let's say that. But yeah, looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. And as I said, Sunday will be dedicated. Well, the whole weekend probably will be dedicated towards nothing but Halloween stuff. So if you are planning to do a photo, a selfie, what have you, make sure you tag CFN, and we will try to share it to the main page. So that's what we're talking about today. Nothing but kids fishing events, getting kids fishing. Some of your experiences of what it's like to get kids out on the water or at the shoreline, and hooking into something that hopefully will set off the passion. But as I said, tag somebody that you would like to see join us, mention something, offer up an event that they're looking to host maybe next year, something they might want help with, anything. This is your power hour, and we're hoping to use as much of it as possible to get a good message across that we need to get kids angling. And I'll tell you, one of the best ambassadors we have here every Monday night dedicates a lot of his time to kids. And if you know Big Jim McLaughlin, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He's coming up next right after this. There he is, the mentor, the myth, the legend, Big Jim McLaughlin. And it's big, not because of your stature, but the size of it.
I'm subdued.
Are you subdued? Wow.
How are you?
It's not often I'm able to do that
Good.
to you.
Hey, Keith there that was in the video, tomorrow night he's on Shimano School.
Oh, good to know.
So he's going to talk about crankbaiting.
Fantastic. Tune into
I'll
that.
be listening.
Will that be on the Shimano North America page?
Yep.
Fantastic.
You
So
got to have a look at that. I got to share it all over. You just got to go to the link and pop on it and you're in.
Fantastic. Well, Jim, I think it's apropos that we're talking about kids and getting kids fishing and what it means to see a young person catch a fish of their lifetime, whether it's a little rock bass or, a big honking slaunch donkey, as our good friends Tyler and Mark would say. But needless to say, Jim, I want to say it's fair to say you probably spend as much time tournament angling as you have at kids events. Would that be true?
Yeah, probably both. Like it goes back like a long way. It goes back like 25 years, 30 years.
Yeah.
And I've always made it a point. That's why sometimes, before all this COVID crap and everything else, I would make it a point to be at like literally sometimes like 20, 25 kids things a year. Just go to them, walk around, talk to the kids. I might only spend an hour or 2 hours or 45 minutes, whatever. Something, a lot of kids, cops, and Canadian Tire things. I do my own right here behind the house at the boat launch in Sealy's Bay, but all this stuff's on hold. So hopefully this year we'll be able to get a bit back. I guess in March we get some freedom. I noticed that the Sportsman Show is a chance that it may be able to go now in Toronto.
Wow.
Because it will fall in after March, and that's when we're supposed to be wide open again.
Yeah.
So as long as everything stays in line here, maybe we'll get that one back this year. It's still, I think it's still tough, but man, my fingers are crossed that I'm just hoping.
Well, I think for all of us too, Jim, we feel the same way. For no other reason, just to get back and see everybody in the community and the social media end of things, and our friends and family. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, we have missed that. We've had little bits of it with our CFN retreat and our meet and greets and what have you, but
Oh yeah.
it doesn't come close to, what we used to do at the ice fishing show, the spring fishing and boat show, and of course the sportsman show. We always like to run into one another, but needless to say, as I said, if someone asked me, Jim, when did it become really important? Scott, I hear you talk about getting kids fishing, but when did it become important, like really important to get kids fishing? And I remember looking at the person, I said, I don't know that there ever was a time that it wasn't important. I think it's always been important. Jim, when did the push come for young angler events? Can you remember back?
Like a long time ago, Scotty. Like there's a lot of people watching here wouldn't have been born yet when it really took a push. I know one of the best things I ever had was there was a website. While we're talking, I'm going to try to find the picture. Somebody posted it a while ago, and I'm not kidding, man. Like it almost put a tear in my eye. It was many years ago. But it was a picture of me on the Renegade Bass stage with a whole bunch of little kids. And they put the comment underneath it, something about, do people really realize what this man means to the future of Canadian fishing? And holy crap, like I looked at that and I welled up. I just thought it was so cool. I don't know if I can find it here, but I'll find it for sure for next week. But man, when you get things like that going on in your life, people saying things like that about you, it's pretty cool. It's a heck of a feeling.
Yeah, I can only imagine, Jim. But as I said, the accolades are worth it, dude. Like as I said, you've got a huge heart. Jeremy,
I got two. Yeah, I got two that are huge, Scotty. Photos that are huge to me, and one is obviously that thing with the kids.
Yeah.
And this here was the other one.
Oh, cool.
When I got to be on the billboard at the Rico in downtown Toronto.
Wow. Look at you, man.
And I was headed down to the sports show, and I'm stopped on the Gardner, dead stop. And I'm out the window with I mean, it's dead stopped. There's people in park. There's an accident, and I'm out with my phone taking that picture of the thing. And there's a guy in the car beside me, and he's looking up at it, and he looks back at me, and he goes like this, and then he goes, and he realizes it's me. It was so funny to see that happen. And I talked to the guy, and I gave him a couple of passes to the sportsman show, and the guy came down, and he fishes now.
Mic drop.
And that's how this all works, and this is how it works with kids. They have to have a pleasant adventure when they're out there. I wrote a big thing for I think it was Outdoor Canada many years ago about taking kids fishing. And there's a few real key things. One, when you take a kid fishing, you're taking a kid fishing. I don't want to see you pick up a rod. You're not there to fish. You're there to watch them. You're there to babysit. I don't care if they're 6 years old or 12 years old. You're there to babysit and take care of them. The moment they want to leave, you start the motor, you start the car, whatever, it's time to go. You don't force them to fish. If they've had enough, they've had enough. And I learned that from my kids. And man, oh man, I remember times when they just got bored really quick and they wanted to go, so we went. And the next day, can we go fishing again, Dad? If I would have kept them out and made them really, the way kids are, boy, we used to be there. We know what it's like.
Absolutely.
So there's two. You got to have a pile of snacks. An absolute pile of snacks, because kids love snacks. You have to fish for panfish. You don't bring your 8-year-old kid muskie fishing, and then you catch a muskie and you've got the kid holding the fish with a startled look on his face, trying to make people think your 8-year-old kid just flipped this 20-pound muskie in the boat.
Yeah,
like stuff like that. You have to keep it really simple, and it's all about the kids. It's all about the kids. It's all about the kids.
Well, Jim, you've made that a historic pastime. It's all about the kids. And Jeremy puts up a comment here. My daughter still has the fishing lure that Big Jim gave her at the first ice fishing expo.
That's awesome.
It is. And I'll tell you how many others. I know I have a lure that was given to me by Big Jim when I went to the sportsman show many moons ago. No, I'm kidding. Let's be honest.
You don't?
I lost it a long time ago. with my casting ability, it's in a tree somewhere, I'm sure.
Hey, I've had my flub.
Yeah. And then you get situations like this. So, I'll tell you, I can't say enough about Kevin Lowen and the entire Lowen family. Six kids he takes out fishing. Not all of them necessarily at one time, but most times he does. And when he can share a moment like this, where his son Luke caught his personal best walleye on Saturday, 28.25 inches.
Oh, I
Probably,
didn't catch one that big this year.
I can't remember the first. I certainly was an adult, a well preserved adult by the time I caught my first 10
Here's
pound.
another photo to show you how important with kids. And this is another one that brings a tear to my eye.
Oh, right on.
I don't know if you can read what it says at the top. No, you can't, eh? It says, "Great to see you at the show today, Jim. Even named the toy you gave her Big Jim."
Wow.
And I've seen this kid since she's like 9 or 10 now, I told you there's one little guy comes to the Ottawa Sportsman Show. I think we've talked about this one before. And he runs into the booth with his parents. He's probably about 14. And he's got a grocery bag, like a plastic bag with something in it. And I thought it was somebody bringing me something. And the kid, because it happens, and the kid whips a trophy out of the bag, puts it on the counter in front of me so I can read it. And he won the Bassmaster Junior Division at a thing they had in Ottawa somewhere. Just a shore fishing event, but he won. And I just thought it was so cool that because I had started that kid fishing years ago at the show, that he came to show me his trophy. He won his first tournament. And it's not all about tournaments. It's the one in 1,000 kids that likes to get into tournaments. The rest of them, it's just fun. But I can't stress how important it is. I brought a lot of kids out that were unhappy when they went out. I don't think I've ever brought one back that wasn't happy.
Maybe one that I remember, one that was probably out too long. And just, it's a great advice that you give, because as you said, at the end of the day, it is all about the kids. And when it is all about the kids, we have to be in tune to what the kids want. And I remember finally having to say to someone, maybe we should go to the dock because I don't think he's having that much fun. He was curled up in a ball, like just not happy, uncomfortable, the whole 9 yards. And of course, the father wanted to keep fishing, which I totally understand. But dude,
it's time to go.
It's time to go. He's telling you
all about the kid. I wouldn't hesitate to tell him either.
Yeah, absolute. Rocky seconds that. That's critical. The second they want to go home, you pack up and head home with a smile. Go back by yourself later. Good advice there. Never see some of the comments that are coming in here. That's really cool. Never got that exposure to fishing as a kid. It's so important for me to do that for mine now. And not for the sake of it was a mistake that your parents made, perhaps, different priorities, different importance, different focus, who knows? But, it's something that for those of us who love to fish, understand the importance of at least exposing it to the next generation. Whether we get them hooked or not is a totally different thing. Terry Robertson shares a great story. My father started taking me out at the age of 3. So been almost 40 years fishing for me. That's cool.
Very cool. I remember once they had a big tournament they used to do at Dow's Lake. Well, not a tournament, at Derby for the kids. And they'd get the one side of Dow's Lake where the road goes around it in Ottawa and the paths are up to the bridge. They would line that shore the whole length, right from the dock step. So one side of Dow's Lake was just hundreds of kids. And it was the NCC supported it a little bit. They actually let us drive on the grass to do it.
Ooh.
The NCC let you drive on the grass.
Oof.
Trudeau can't drive on the grass. The NCC if you have to. But wait
a minute. What grass are we talking?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, no kidding.
There was one kid there, and he's fishing. He's sitting on the ground. He's about 12 or 13, and this kid is obviously one of these poor kids that, society has just passed by, and he's there with a family member. Probably I don't know, maybe like an older sister or something. And, she didn't really want to be there, but she was more, she was more worried about her hair and putting makeup on, and she was sitting there and everything else. And the kid didn't know what to do. And I don't know, maybe they shouldn't have been there. So I spent about 10 minutes with this kid. And we're sitting on the side of the lake, and I showed him how to use a slip bobber. So he
Nice.
starts looking at me, and I can see he's not a dummy. And he looks at it and he says, "Wow, so we could fix that so I didn't get stuck in the weeds all the time." Because he kept getting stuck in the weeds because they had a bobber the size of my head, one of the red and white bobbers, with about 6 feet of line hanging underneath it. So every time the piece of worm went down to the weeds, it just got stuck and the kid caught nothing, you know? So I fix him up with this, and he starts fishing. The first cast, he catches like a 2-pound bass. Just on a little piece of worm. I put a little jig head on it, like a little ice fishing jig head, hoping he was going to catch something, you know? I always keep a pocket of stuff, and I got the kid fishing, and he's having a good time. And he's going out. I come back by and looks around at me, and you could just see the kid, the enthusiasm and like his confidence as a young male. It was just like the testosterone was flowing. I think, you know, he was ready. That's all there was to it. So I walk way down to the end and like come back down, and it takes like about an hour and a half because you stop to talk to every kid and making sure they got what they need, and you got like 20 guys there helping too, so it's just great. And I come back down, and here's this kid, and he's got 2 kids sitting in front of him like a classroom. And he's explaining to them how to fish with a slip bobber.
Wow.
This is like, I don't know, like an hour later, and he's telling them, this is the way Big Jim does it. You have to. And I thought to myself, it was just so cool. But just to watch a young lad like that, just in the space of, you know, like half a morning, just come into his own.
Yeah.
You know? And I've never seen that kid to this day, but man, the number of kids that I have that are like 25 now or 23 that look me up, they see me on Facebook, and they send me a little note, and you know they're young kids out doing their things. Like a lot of them are teenagers or whatever. They don't want to be talking to old Big Jim, you know. And I understand that 1,000%, but they take the time to engage you to tell you how much they like fishing now, and that to me,
that's what it's all about.
It makes it all worthwhile.
100%. Corey, you've got you're embarking on something that I know we did run here in Ontario.
Yeah, the OFAH. Yeah,
OFAH ran a mentoring program. It's something that we have talked about in CFN land, whether we could do it during a fish off or one of our other events, or maybe have an exclusive event, but have a mentoring type event where it's all about getting kids fishing, seeing the adults out with fishing, and somehow, some way awarding you for doing that. So thanks, Corey, for mentioning that, because I think that is a great idea. Jeanette says here, I was the middle of 3 girls, and I think my dad attached a rod to my life jacket. Did it all my life, and up to 2006, I developed a fear of water and ice, and my brother-in-law and husband helped me get over it.
Isn't that wonderful?
Wow. Yep.
I
love this too. Kelly Delorme. I can't go without her. This meaning her daughter. Since she was 3, she always knows when I'm going. I love it, and all day adventure. And I get her on the fish before me. I also bait for her still to this day. That's awesome. Love hearing stuff like
that. It's really funny how kids get excited like that. And I saw a thing the other day and I said to Tammy, I said, this is like kids sometime, and I showed it to her. And Robert Pye, who's one of the major players at the OFAH, taking care of our fishing and hunting for us, he posted a picture, and he's got his dogs. One of them's a Springer, and I think it's a Springer, some kind of Spaniel. And he's got a couple of just beautiful dogs. And they're hunting dogs. Like, they're trained like to retrieve, you know, the whole deal. And he's standing in the living room. The dog's sitting there like, you know, and he goes, do you want to go hunting? And the dog sort of, no, do you want to go hunting?
Are you serious?
We're going hunting. And the dog starts bouncing like this and runs past them. The other one, we're going on. And kids are like that about fishing. You get them wound up, and they go. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Then there's stories like this, and I don't think, Cliff, you're alone, because there were many times that, you know, my father probably would have liked to have done this, but Cliff's convinced that his dad used them for bait.
Took him trolling for alligators?
Yeah. Big chub, eh, Cliff? Yeah, absolutely. Well said, Tony. But yeah, no, it's something that we're working on. I know I just see Michelle jumped in here with a comment. We are definitely working on something next year when it comes to commemorating Serena Shaw. So stay tuned to that. But also, it might somehow become part of a mentoring program that we can implement here some way, somehow. But I'd love to see CFN take a real lead like OFAH has in the past to get kids fishing. So, and I know a guy that probably would be able to help us. Look at that, Michelle. Yeah, count us in. Well, Michelle, always, absolutely. Now, Jim, just as I said, history. How far back can you go where you can remember the first sort of youth-driven angling event?
Oh, jeez. Man, the tumbleweeds and the crickets are gone.
Like 80s, 70s, 80s?
Yeah, probably the. Yeah, it would have been in the late '80s what I remember because I started tournament fishing in '87.
Yeah.
That was when it took off in Canada. It was that year, and I remember doing some kids things. It might have been the next year, and then GM Pro Bassinet started having some little. They would have a few kids once in a while. They would do some. It was not highly organized or anything. It was just like a. So the parents were at the weigh-in. We'll get a few extra rods, and the kids could fish off the dock for 15 minutes. And then a lot of things. But I mean, what Renegade Bass has done, and hopefully we can get back to that this summer too with Big Jim's kids. Man, we have one giant event for the kids every year, and my hat's off to Steve Barnett's wife. She does a great job of organizing it, just a wonderful job. And sometimes I think we get maybe like 50, 60 kids, maybe more. There'll be a lot more over the day, the total number, but sometimes we used to hold it on the Big Rito at John's Marina, and it would be packed. And then a couple of years ago, they held it here. The last time I think it was held on the docks here, right in Sealy's Bay, and it went over big. But John's Marina there at their Rito Ferry was by far the turnouts because it was so much closer to Ottawa, which is where the big bunches of people are.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool thing. And then another event that was run for a long time by I think it was run by the Fish and Game Club in Kingston, and then the corrections officers took it over and ran it in Kingston for a few years. Did a wonderful job of running it. They had a perch derby they used to hold right in the Olympic Harbor, and some years they had like 700 and 800 kids.
Wow.
Like the Olympic Harbor in Kingston, there would be a kid every 6 inches. The whole way along every dock, it was just incredible. Half of them didn't catch anything. I mean, there's a ton of fish, but when you get that many kids, there just ain't enough sunfish swimming around underneath those docks that everybody can catch one. It's like absolutely amazing how good it was, and they organized a little sports show with it, and they had bicycles to give away for prizes, and the OPP got involved in it, the Kingston Police, all kinds of people, and they had all kinds of events for the kids. Like every kid got a bag of chips and a hot dog and a drink, and the local grocery store chipped in. It was just a wonderful event. It'd be really nice to see more things like that. But once again, it takes. It died because the amount of time out of people's lives for something that big. You're not asking someone to go out on a Saturday and help out with the kids for 4 or 5 hours. You're asking them to go to 25 meetings. You're asking them to go pick up stuff at stores all over the place. And then all of a sudden, you have to have insurance for the event, so you got to raise funds and all this stuff because it's all part of it. When it gets that big, you have to have it. It has to be done. But that was the best one ever. The Dow's Lake one was good too, but the Renegade one is absolutely awesome, and I'm sure we'll have it back. The number of kids that we saw at that was incredible, and it's really cool because a lot of the kids were kids of. Their parents were fishing, their dads were fishing in Renegade.
Wow.
And the level of expertise of some of these little 10-year-old girls was offside because dad took them fishing. The Sealy's Bay one here that we do, Tammy gets a kick out of it. I think it was 3 or 4 years in a row. It was a little 10 or 12-year-old girl that won.
Wow.
And all the little 10 or 12-year-old boys were one of the little girls caught, I think it was 78 fish in the 3 hours. 70. I'd be hard pressed to catch 78 fish there in 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unreal.
She was just a machine. She was she was smart. She told me after, I don't have a barb on the hook. Took the barb off, so it was really quick to get it out. And things like that, eh?
Wow.
6-pound
Well,
chest, slip bobber. She
we
had
love
it all together.
we love to see these preteen anglers outsmarting the fish, because let's face it, the fish aren't smart, and we don't ever want them to be smart. So as long as we're on top of the fish, we're in a good place, and we're hopefully going to
I
catch.
got to tell you the funny thing last night here. I know we're almost done here. I'm sitting down the back there. It was pretty nice out. I go down there just before dark and chucking a chatterbait around, and chucking a flick shake around and some other stuff. There's nothing. The night before I got a really nice one. I got 2 or 3 actually, and 3.
Nice.
Gotta get my numbers in now because they're dying quick. It's getting cold, and the water is crystal clear now here. It's usually like soup.
Yeah.
Because all the algae's died and everything. You could see everything on the bottom. Like if you threw a dime in 6 feet of water, you'd look down, you can see it on the bottom. It's crystal clear. So I'm sitting there and I'm talking to a buddy on the phone, and so I'm not casting. I've got the rod sitting across my leg, and chatterbait sitting in the water, and all of a sudden something grabs it. I just about had a $700-800 rod and reel pulled out of my hand. I just managed to catch it in time. I dropped my phone, and I get back on the phone. He says, "What are you doing?" I says, "Well, apparently I'm not going to the fish, so they're coming to me." It was a pike, and it was funny because about 3 minutes before I had seen the pike come by. He did a flyby behind one of my lures, and I just ripped it away because I knew he was going to eat it. It's gone. It was so funny, but yeah, no, you never know when they're going to bite. So that's why you got to put your time in.
I'll tell you what Alicia's doing here is exactly what I'm hoping for, that all of you can do. Love doing Catch a Dream that Dave Chong runs. Always fun to see the excitement. Our good buddy Stanley does one. Next Gen Anglers. It's incredible how many young anglers he gets to the shoreline.
Yeah, I go to Dave's every year pretty well.
Yeah. It's absolutely amazing. Dave Gillis does one out in Saskatchewan. Our good buddy Dave and Sarah Gillis. They do it, of course, to commemorate the loss of their son. So it comes from the heart. They get a lot of inner city kids involved. It's a really, really cool event. But again, like you said, Jim, it's not easy. You ask the Chongers of the world, the Stanleys of the world, our good friends down in the Windsor area that do ICHA.
Yeah, there's a wonderful one, Pat.
Pat Pagano and his army. I tell you, it's incredible what they get done down there as well. But any events that you have been a part of, hosted, helped out, sent a kid to, been a part of yourself, maybe as a kid. I know there was some AYA tournaments that we used to do back in the day. I don't know if they still
Chris
go on.
Hockley ran a couple here, I think, on Scoogog.
The sponsorship, the level of sponsorship to some of those AYAs is incredible. The last one that I'm aware of that is high profile is the one that is run out in Manitoba on the ice, where they get all those kids out on the prizes. Like, it's a mountain of prizes that they give away. It's incredible.
I wanted to do one. I looked at it about just after we moved here, try to get maybe 10 or 12 guys to come down with boats, and each take a couple of kids in the boat and change the kids every hour or so, just take them to the end of the speed zone, take them for a ride in the basketball, bring them back and whatever. And then I started talking to some people about the insurance factors and everything else, and I just
this is the thing. You're right. It's insurance that scares everybody away, and for obvious reasons.
Like, I have all this spare time.
Yeah, plus that.
Right now it's not so bad, but when we're doing things, like I say, it's I put in literally like it's a couple of 100 days a year on this stuff. It's like nonstop, whether it's on the radio, writing something, driving places. You don't put 100,000 kilometers on a truck by accident.
No.
So it's what it is. But hey, when you were talking earlier about just getting together with people again, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. I'm doing one of my little whirlwind tours tomorrow. I got a bunch of things to do.
Nice.
And I saved them all up, and I got 8 or 9 places I'm gonna frequent for 5 to 10 minutes, including Shimano's mothership.
Nice.
And, I'll be back home by 3 or 4 o'clock, and it'll be a day well spent. Looks like in the pouring rain. I'm talking to you here now. I can hear the rain on the roof of the house just pounding down.
Yeah, we got an awful lot of it. We've got another round of it, I'm sure, that's coming from out west. Our good buddy Scott Stewart will tell you all about it, what they're getting hit with, plus snow. They're getting a whole bunch of snow as well. But yeah, lots of rain.
Still no frost here.
No, it's funny enough, Jim. I think Saturday morning we got close. Saturday was it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday morning we got close to frost. Once that sort of cold front went through, but you're right. No hard frost yet. We haven't had to scrape the window yet.
I saw a little wisp on a couple of barn roofs one morning going to the gym, and I only noticed it was there because the sun had gone halfway across the barn roof and it was melted. So but it was very, very minimal. It wasn't one of those
Right.
thick white frosts that you get early and you see them.
Right
It
on.
was just like a little tint. So it's
Right on, buddy.
What
Well,
it is.
listen, on your exploits and escapades, drive safe. Say hi to everybody for us, and
always, buddy.
as always, thanks so much for coming on here, Jim, and making sure that we ensure the passion and the pursuit of anything. Yeah, baby.
It's
Love
my
it.
pleasure, buddy. Everybody be safe out there and catch another fish before the year's over. I ain't done.
I ain't done. Challenge
Actually,
accepted, Jim.
I may go do something really weird on Thursday if the wind lays down on Lake Ontario, right?
Okay.
Remember I told you about the largemouth place?
Uh-huh.
I may go.
Wow.
'Cause
Well, I don't have the coordinates, so nobody asked me where
It's
it
only
is.
been used once. It's only
Yes.
been used once in two years. And besides catching 30 or 40 fish each, it gave up 3 largemouths over 6 pounds
Oof.
in one day. So it's untouched, and it's a really weird pattern. It's a place that you would be sure you would be going to fit. Like if you brought me to it, I would tell you, oh, smallmouth. And if you said largemouth, I'd say, no, look, I didn't just fall off the pumpkin cart. Like
That's awesome.
no,
Well, buddy,
hopefully.
I hope it lays down for you. I hope you get out
Too
there.
few days in a boat this year.
Yeah, I know. I hear you, bud. I hear
Yeah.
you. We'll work on that next year.
Yes, sir. Okay, people, take care. Be safe.
All the
Thanks,
best.
Scotty.
Quinn. Thanks,
Always,
buddy.
buddy.
Appreciate it. Well, as I said, there's so many events that I'd love folks to tag as much as they possibly can. Someone was asking if there is. Oh, there you go, Christina. Do you know of any events for kids in Northern Ontario besides a trout pool in a mall? There's got to be. Charles, I know Chucky D, you are associated with a lot, and that's the other thing too. We have to keep in mind is the sponsors. Without the sponsors, none of these events can carry on like they do. I know CFN does its best to try and help out where we can, but the sponsors that give out these prizes, that I don't know, the generosity is just amazing. But it's all for a good reason. It's all for a good cause, and hopefully in 2022 we can do a lot more of it. With that in mind, let's bring on our next guest, Lawrence Gunther. But before we do, here's a word from our sponsor.
Oh, there's one right there. That's a good one too.
Yes, and super hard to get a hold of Vanford Reels. Do you have one, Lawrence?
No.
Yeah.
So I ordered one in the spring, but I'm at the back of the list, so that's okay.
Well,
okay.
you know what? I'm basically, if you're on the back, mine is crumpled up and thrown in the garbage.
No.
No, it'll be a while before I'll see a Vanford, but I'm looking forward
Me
to
too.
it. I do.
Yeah.
I've had the luxury of holding it in my hand and reeling with it, and it is all they say it is. It's an incredible reel. Well,
yeah.
Lawrence, we're talking about everything kids fishing, everything geared towards kids fishing.
Yeah.
Also, I'd love to bring up the I would say ingenuity, creativity, whatever you want to call it, when it comes to how we carve our pumpkins. We saw one recently. Christina Kodluk tagged me in one. Tristan Jarrett out west. She carved her pumpkin into the mouth of a walleye, and it's spot on.
Wow.
Absolutely spot on. It's brilliant. In fact,
Yeah.
I hope she freezes the thing and uses it next year because she's the carving was incredible. But yeah, youth events, Lawrence. How many youth events would you say you've been a part of yourself?
Well, quite a few, and I was involved with quite a few this year as well. But I just before we move on, I just wanted to say something about Big Jim and his wife Tammy and the casting pond they operated at the Ottawa Sports Outdoor and Boat Show for 20 years, over 20 years, and still going on. And like any parent or grandparent that brought their child or grandchild to the Ottawa Boat Show, outdoor and boat show, those kids went because they knew about Big Jim's casting pond. The little kids had a small pond and small rods, and they all got a prize. Every child got a prize with a fishing rod. And then the bigger kids had Big Jim's volunteers all lined up, teaching them how to cast into an actual pond, with different types of fishing rods, personal hands-on instruction. Thousands of children every year it's my kids going there and this day everyone knows Big Jim. Every person in Ottawa in this Eastern Ontario knows Big Jim because of that, and their children and their grandchildren know him. So he's done over and above.
Well, listen, I hope everyone heard that. I heard little bits and pieces. For whatever reason, we just had a bad segment of internet go through. We're back to normal now, but as I said, I hope everybody heard that. I didn't, unfortunately, Lawrence, but I'm sure I can say or at least shadow exactly what you've said. But yeah, the amount of effort and time and passion and love that goes into Jim it's remarkable. He is in our industry. Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties with Wi-Fi tonight. Might be because of the storm. I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully everybody. I don't see comments coming out. So perhaps we're in a bit of a lull. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're breaking up. It's a little garbled.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why.
There, it's back. It's back now. Yeah.
Sounds like robots. Well, it is a bit of a Halloween theme, Christina. Yeah, it is definitely a Halloween theme. I apologize. I'm not sure what's going on with the Wi-Fi. I hope it improves for everyone so that you guys can hear.
Yeah.
Tag. And for no other reason, guys, tag and throw out all of the young angling events that go on wherever you can remember, wherever you can think of, just for the sake of creating a bit of a Rolodex and tagging some of those great events. So people like Christina, who perhaps isn't aware of anything up north in Northern Ontario, she can tune in and help out or get Cassidy involved. So, yeah, absolutely.
Our charity gives all sorts of materials. We supported indirectly a number of family fishing derbies at RV camps, campgrounds, and they contact us. We ship out the kits. They hand them out to the families, just to promote sustainable fishing, best practices, fish identification, shoreline cleanup, things of that nature. We also, I was directly involved with the Dover Court and Ottawa River Muskie Factory. We put on 3 weeks of fishing camp in Ottawa. Each week had 12 young youth, and they came for 5 days, 6 hours a day with the 2 camp counselors. One was a lifeguard. We started them off with pan fishing in a central lake in downtown Ottawa, and then they learned how to drop shot for bass. And then on the last day, they were out in the boats on the Ottawa River, multi-species fishing. And I was honored to be out there with them and talking to them about fishing, about feel the bite, and just trying to inspire them. And it's so interesting. Obviously some kids. I mean, these are kids. These are some of them were disadvantaged kids, but you never knew which was which. And some kids were totally into it, and some kids were just like, "Oh, it's just another day, but at least we're outside." And but rain or shine, they were out, and it was amazing. At the end of every week, they were all got something out of it. They really enjoyed it, and it's going to be repeated. We'll be doing this again next year, and other camps as well. But I just want to say a little bit about the data, Scotty, about numbers.
Mhm.
Yeah, so baby boomers are aging, right? And if you look at people over 65, 40% of them will have a disability, and that is mainly in the knees or the back. And if you're talking about climbing in and out of boats or on and off docks where you have to lift your legs and swing your legs high, that can be a real problem for people who have that type of injury. Or you're out on the water and the boat's moving, that's really hard on the lower back. And then over 75, you start to get into sight loss and hearing loss. And a lot of people at that age, they start to bow out. And if you have a group of friends that fish together, once one says, "Oh, I'm not going on the trip this year, guys. I've got this or that, a doctor's appointment." The others will say, "Well, you know what? We'll just skip it this year." But they never come back. So all that to say, for the last number of years, the total number of people who fish in Canada has been going down every year. And that's been very concerning to the industry. So they've been looking for ways to inspire and to engage youth to come up and take over. I've interviewed people from the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation in the United States. They have a 60 by 60 initiative going on. They wanted in 60 months, they wanted to reach 60 million people fishing in the United States. They were down to about 54 million. Numbers were dropping off steadily like they are in Canada.
Mhm.
And but like Canada, COVID and all the data shows that COVID was a big boost to fishing, like 20 to 30% increase in fishing activity. And the big numbers on that one came from urban youth, urban women, and urban people of BIPOC, Black or Indigenous or of color. And those were the big take-up groups that accounted for that big bump in fishing participation over the last 2 summers. So we've got some work to do. If we're going to retain those new anglers, we need to mentor them. We need to make sure they don't get frustrated and drop out. We need to make sure they're having good experiences, some camaraderie, some support when we see them out fishing for the first time and they're struggling at the boat launch, they're struggling on the dock, they're struggling on the shore. It's up to all of us to go over there and just give some advice, lend a hand, offer some camaraderie, just to help make it an enjoyable day for them. Because, if you're starting something and you're not having enjoyable days, you're not going to keep going back, right? That's pretty not going to happen. And, young people start at a very young age, they go back because it's in, it wakes up their DNA and it's in us all to fish, but it's much harder to wake up as you get older if you haven't
100%.
fished. Yeah.
100%. And I'd like to think, and my community will correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the best times to get kids into fishing, and it may sound odd, is during the hard water season. And for no other reason than it builds community. If you see some of the events that go on, there seem to be geared towards hard water, especially the young events. And that one that I keep talking about, Manitoba, does a fantastic job. And the prizes certainly dictate to the amount of work that's done by the volunteers that host it. But to me, you can, Jim talked about snacks. Well, you can cook out on the ice, right?
Yeah,
We can have, lunch. We can have suppers. So we can certainly.
Doesn't take much. Doesn't take much. No, a hot dog, some hot chocolate, really, and a little shelter to break the wind. My walleye club, we would sell out every year, 50 people, parents and their children on the ice, February, family fishing day in February, minus 30, minus 40 outside net. They'd show up. We'd always say, "Oh, they're not going to come. It's windy, it's cold." And sure enough, they all come. And it's, and it's like, wow, they all come. And they catch, 5, 10, 15 fish out of 50 people because it's February, They don't care. They don't care. It's something to do. The most I've done these is 3 different fishing derbies and ice family ice fishing derbies in one winter. That was in 2018, 2019. We did
Wow.
3 events, and you would never hear about these. These are just little local events sponsored by local people, and they all attract people. I go out with my auger, I go out with the ice, the kits, and just walk around punching holes and getting people set up. And you like Big Jim says, you're not fishing. You're just there to help people catch fish and help them get their lines sorted out and their hooks tied on properly and get them down to the right depth and their baits on the hook and teach them how to jig and all that stuff. It's just, there's so much work. There's so much to learn.
100%. Rob, you said it best. When taking your kids out, make sure you're fishing for quantity, not quality.
Yeah.
Keep them active. You're 100% right. But as I said, it's a challenge I'm putting out there to our community during the hard water season that's upcoming, and it's just around the corner. This will be the year, I think, hopefully, knock on wood, fingers crossed, that we're going to see a lot of young anglers out with families, friends, at events, what have you, because I do believe that hopefully going forward, we're going to have the ability to host these events and see them through. But I think this will be a make it or break kind of season to see the youth truly involved in anything.
I tell you, nothing's more satisfying than bringing young children in. I have 6 kids of my own and 2 grandchildren now. And they can all fish. They all know how to fish. Some love fishing more than others, some not so much. And you never know, right? It's just a personality thing. And then you think, well, that one's going to really take to it. And then another one does. And you think, oh, I never saw that coming. But it's not something that's going to be guaranteed in every kid. So sometimes, you can't force things. And sometimes you just have to go with the flow. But it's a beautiful thing when these kids grow up and if they learn how to do it and they had fun, even if they didn't do it a lot, when they get older and they have children of their own, it's going to be on the list of things they're going to do with their kids too.
I friggin' hope so. I really do. Because you know what? For all of you volunteers and all you sponsors, anyone who hosts an event or takes your kid to an event, I tip my hat to you. Because that is truly our aim. At the end of the day, what do we want our legacies to be? Well, here at CFN, it's about getting people fishing, and especially kids. And then there's another aspect to getting kids involved in angling in a very unique and incredible way. And Richard Elliott, the work that man does, very proud to have him a part of our community.
Yeah. Great man.
What he does with the schools, with those salmon and trout hatcheries, is truly remarkable. And Richard, if you're still on, I don't know what you're up to in terms of numbers, but I think you were in the 40s the last I spoke to you. I'm sure you're even higher now. But as a kid, I'll tell you, I would have loved for angling to have been a subject, hands down. But to be able to come into a class and instead of, saying, good morning, Mrs. Gilmore, or good morning, Mr. Smith, or whatever, you go straight to the hatchery and see how much the fish had grown from the previous day.
Yeah.
Dude, I would have gone to school. I would have been the first in line at school just to see that. I think it's so incredible what he does with his group of volunteers, and he's constantly driving all over the province, catering to these hatcheries. But
on the West Coast, it was such a big thing to get kids, to give them their little hatchery into the classrooms. And Scotty Molding was a big one for that. They made the equipment. They donated a lot of equipment for the schools. Government put money into it. Some local DFO officials out there, they realized that that you needed to get kids to love fish. And that no one had taught a lot of kids in the 60s and 70s to love fish, right? It just seemed like it was not something kids didn't want to do that. It was old fuddy-duddy stuff. And they were growing up and they had turned their backs on fish, and just like society had turned their backs on fish in so many ways. Just look at the way we treated our rivers and our harbors for so long, right? And then we had to turn that around and teach these kids to respect fish and not to treat them like trash in terms of what we dump into the water. And it was done through hatcheries, classroom hatcheries. And what a successful program that was on the West Coast. Absolutely amazing.
Well, we need more of it, because at the end of the day, it's important to get kids fishing, but it's really important to get kids into fish.
Yeah.
For the simple fact, as you said, it will have a byproduct which will clean our water, improve our shorelines, make our environment a lot healthier.
Mhm.
But if we can get kids to take pride in fish, and yes, enjoying fishing is definitely one of them. But as I said, what Richard is doing, what that group out in BC is doing, uh, there's so many different groups that do all kinds of stocking programs. I know that it was talked about here in the comments about perhaps, I think it was you, Kevin. Yeah, Mountain Walleye in southwestern Manitoba
Mhm.
does a walleye stocking program and a few derbies, obviously to raise money for the hatchery and all the work that goes on with that. That kind of stuff, to see kids involved in some way, somehow with that is that gets me welled up. When I see kids involved in hatchery work,
Mhm.
I love that, man.
Yeah, it
I
is.
friggin' love that.
It's stream restoration, instead of going down the rivers and wrecking the rivers, throwing stuff into the rivers and blocking them and and just trashing them, to actually go out there and improve the rivers, right? To give them that sort of sense of stewardship, and show them what that means. It's so important. And young people, look at all the talk we do about climate change and environmentalism, and how much that's in the news and how much people talk about that and how important that is to so many people these days, because we see what's going on with the storms and the floods and the heat waves and so on. To teach them a sense of, hey, here's a way you can give back to nature and help out nature and be involved with nature. People want that. People, it wasn't that long ago when fishing was a party, and if you had a picture of a 10 dead fish in the back of your boat and your deck was full of blood, that was a great day on the water. People don't want to see that anymore. They don't want to see, that sort of slaughter, that type of slaughter. They want to see catch and release, proper fish handling, good euthanizing practices when you are harvesting fish. It's not strap them onto the hood of your truck and go honking through the town kind of thing anymore, right? I mean, that's gone with hunting and that's gone with fishing. You can't be disrespectful to these animals, harvested or not. You have to, and people get that. They understand that. We need to teach them that, because that's what they're looking for. That's the kind of information they're looking for.
100%. I couldn't have said it better myself. Christina, absolutely. Garbage cleanup. I know come next year, next spring, we are going to be doing an initiative here at CFN where it's take a bag with you. Take a bag, grab a bag kind of thing, where it's a garbage cleanup every time you go out fishing. I don't know if we're going to dedicate a week, a month to it, but every time you go out fishing, we'd love to see your fish picks, but also the garbage that you picked up. But we also have to be very careful too what garbage we're picking up and allowing our kids to get involved with, because
you need gloves. You need gloves, and they need supervision, especially young kids. Picking up syringes, condoms, things of that nature. Right? There's something to be said. So there has to be supervision. Bluefish Canada has given out close to 10,000 shoreline cleanup kits now, individual kits that include a pair of gloves, a garbage bag, and just something you can easily slide in your tackle bag, into your knapsack, and you have it. And you just have it. When you see a mess, you take out your kit and you clean it up. And it's it's a simple thing, but just picking up that kit at the outdoor shows where we give them out, or in the mail, just asking for one and having it sent out to you, you're committing to say, hey, I'm not going to be a polluter. I'm going to be someone who cleans things up. And that's so cool, right? I mean, when people start to take pride and show stewardship, and we got to do that, right? We got to do that.
100%. And Christina mentioned that you sent her a cool garbage cleanup kit probably last year, I think it was, that you sent it to her. But it's cool things like that. Always leave it cleaner, Rob. I know Smokey the Bear used to say that all the time, and I used to listen to that bear. And when it came to parkland, and you go to a park or a campsite, leave it cleaner than when you found it, and in better shape. We could say that to everything, Earth, the world, everything. You're 100% right. We need to do a more conscious effort when it comes to ensuring that. Interesting, Corey. What's this? Here in Oregon, they do a fishing program just to help youth and teenagers that are disabled, and they take them out fishing. They also take them out hunting with the guides on fishing and hunting in Oregon.
Oh yeah, there's great programs like that. I've been down to North Carolina, and down there they have the North Carolina National Blind Fishing Tournament once a year on the Outer Banks, and they have over 600-700 blind youth show up for that. And I've been the guest speaker there a couple times, and it's a massive program undertaken by the Lions. I'm involved with the CNIB Lake Joseph Center up in the Muskokas, and I go up there and get to fish with the youth that are deaf and blind, and to teach them to fish, and I know a little bit of deaf blind hand sign language, where you spell everything out in their hand and they spell it out in your hand.
Cool.
But just to put the fishing line in their hand and have them stand in the dock in the boathouse if it's raining, or outside the boathouse if it's not, and just hold the fishing line and just say, hold this. And then they feel that fish bite, right? And they just light up, man. And they get it real fast, right? Real fast. And they know, man, fishing is their sport. Absolutely, it's something they can do really well.
Well, Richard says, and I'll sum up CFN Live tonight with this comment, and it's 100% bang on. Richard, at the end of the day, all this work and effort that we could put forth to get kids fishing and into fishing, at the end of the day, whether they fish or not in the future, hopefully these students, these young people become our politicians, our business leaders, those who are, steering committees, stakeholder meetings, what have you. I mean, there's a whole gamut of stuff that we hope that they become a part of, and think back of the importance of not only respecting the fisheries, but also the water in which they live in. And hopefully those people of power are the ones that are going to be changing the future.
They'll remember those good days on the water. They will. People never forget that stuff.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Lawrence, as always, thanks so much for joining us.
Great topic. Great leadership, my friend. Good job.
100%. It's amazing how time flies, but again, can't thank you enough for all you bring to our community each and every Monday, bud.
You too, my friend. Thank you for the opportunity.
Right on, dude. You take care of yourself. Enjoy your week. Bye now. Great topic. As I said, if you weren't able to tag in these comments, make sure you tag after. But we'd love to see as many events that have gone on in the past, or hopefully in the future, in our comments, for no other reason than for our community to be able to go through and scroll and see if there's one near them. I know Christina was looking for one in Northern Ontario. If there's others of you out there that would want to get involved, perhaps maybe just be a spectator, witness it. It's totally up to you. But as I say, if we could tag as many events that go on all across Canada when it comes to youth fishing and young angler events, I'd really appreciate it, because as I said, that's what we want to do. We just want to get the future of our fisheries fishing. I can't think of anything more important than that. On that note, guys, listen, enjoy the rest of your week. I love the fact that you come here each Monday and tune in, offer up some comments, some positivity, a pat on the back, or just a salute to whoever. It really means a lot. Love you all. You take care of yourselves. Have a great week. All the best. And if I don't see you, happy Halloween. Yeah, baby. Peace.